We got a real fight, people. David Benavidez versus David Morrell. Ooh, and I can't wait. It's pretty. It's so pretty. 2025 is already lit. Shout out to PBC. PBC has announced to me the first fight in 2025 that I am truly looking forward to. Now, another thing I got to give credit to PBC for is if you notice how they conduct business is real smooth, real proper like, meaning they don't really say too much. They just drop it on you. They drop unexpectedly like birds, if you know what I mean, right? There's no big preamble. There's not a bunch of speculation. You don't see Al Heyman all in the video dancing or the PBC promoters talking about the fights that they hope to make. Like, you look at Eddie Hearn, and I got to use him as an example because he's probably one of the prime examples in boxing that does what I'm talking about, which is he'll talk about Shakur versus William Zepeda. Like, oh yeah, Shakur, he'll beat William Zepeda. And at this point, as me recording the video, we don't even know if Zepeda and his side is going to take and accept the fight, right? Or they'll talk about Jaron Boots Ennis versus Ortiz, or in the past, he would talk about, oh, I want to see Dillian White versus Deontay Wilder, or Joshua will fight Luis King Kong Ortiz in his prime. You know, he'll fight and make a fight with Demetrius Andrade, who was over there at that time, versus Jamal Charlo. But the reality is the fights never happen. So I don't want to just talk about it. So PBC is superb when it comes to that. They didn't really do a bunch of, at least from internally, they didn't do a bunch of name dropping and stuff. They just hit you over the head. Boom. Benavidez versus Morrell. We got a daytime venue and the undercard. So salute to them. Now, I'm seeing the behind the scenes clip and I'm telling you, this is a great fight. If you check my track record, you know what it is. I'm the best in the business and it's not even close. So David Benavidez, David Morrell, there seems to be some real bad blood, some real tension right there, because for years, Benavidez has been called out by David Morrell, and Morrell's been talking spicy. Now they have an actual date. The stars have aligned, and we're going to be in for a treat. I think this is a really 50-50 pick'em fight. There's things that Benavidez does well. Benavidez has the experience on his side. He's been in the bigger cards. He's been in the bigger fights. Morrell doesn't have that many fights. But then there's also things that Morrell brings to the table. He's younger than Benavidez. He is about the same size as Benavidez. I would say his footwork is better than Benavidez. So this is a real life one of them ones. And just like Highlander, there can be only one. And I'm looking forward to it. Morrell is at the press conference looking very confident. He's at the green screen with Benavidez and they both are chirping, and Morrell's like, shut the F up, speaking some English. They're both bilingual, so they're speaking Spanish. Benavidez is like repeatedly saying, I'm gonna break your mouth. He keep talking, so now I'm gonna break his mouth. You were talking bad about me for the last couple years. You were talking about my dad. You were talking about my family, talking about me. So now you're gonna get the belt. I don't know what more you can ask for as a fan. And this is similar to past generations, which in this new economy and new world of boxing, you don't always get. Where you got two guys very primed. It's not like either look sensationally bad. in their last performance or anything like that. Some people, you know, they're going to critique and say Benavidez could have did more with Vodstick, or Morrell should have did more with Hot Rod. But I'm talking about looking bad. Like, you know, when a fighter looks truly bad, like arguably they lost. Like, for example, going back to Eddie Hearn Shakur Stevenson, Zepeda. I think Zepeda, he didn't beat Tevin Farmer. So to me, that really, really hurt the Shakur Stevenson fight, because Zepeda had been tearing through guys. They should have given him an opponent that was less problematic. And if it was supposed to be a kind of like a prequel, a precursor to a Shakur fight, you should have gave him someone where he could just get some activity in and look how he's been looking. But giving him Tevin Farmer proved to be kind of a bridge too far, because he didn't look that good, and I don't even think he won the fight. So for me, it hurt the Shakur Stevenson fight, because I'm giving Zepeda very little chance. Like, what are you just gonna sit there and out-volume Shakur Stevenson? I mean, I guess it's possible, but everybody knows boxing. You understand the sport, that in a lot of these matchups, the pure boxer, the guy who has more tools, a lot of times gets it done, unless there's glaring deficiencies in the more of the pure boxer style. Like, oh, they have no chin. You know, Michael Moore versus George Foreman, where somebody had a shaky chin. Problem with Shakur is we don't really know much about his chin, because he's so educated that he kind of controls the space and the distance, and he just doesn't get hit with a bunch of silly shots. So at the end of the day, I mean, he says he has a chin, but at the end of the day, kudos to him. You know, they say the shots you don't see are the shots that hurt you the most. He just don't, so far, given his competition, he hasn't allowed for anybody to crack him real solid like. So to me, that's not a 50-50 fight. But this right here, this Morrell Benavidez, yeah, this is definitely a 50-50 fight. I can already tell in my comment section, people are split. People are like, this is how you know the mark of a good fight. You literally got people who are saying Morrell by unaliving Benavidez and Morrell in 6. But then you have the same comment section, you got people saying the exact same. Morrell's overrated. Benavidez going to destroy him. You should have never picked a fight with the Mexican monster. Like, the comments, it is literally the opposite. Some people are saying, like, you could really sub out the names. Like, what people are saying Morrell's going to do to Benavidez, switch out the name. There's comments saying Benavidez is going to do the same to Morrell. Again, this is the mark of a great fight. So I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying the festivities, the trash talk. I knew there was going to be bad blood. And I also love fights like this where styles make fights. It's a great matchup. Again, similar to, you look at the fights in the 80s and 90s, guys were really fighting. You really were fighting kind of your equals. Like, look at the late 80s, early 90s heavyweight division. I mean, you had to go through some smoke, be it Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, Lennox Lewis, Tommy Morrison, the merciful Ray Mercer, right? David Tua, Ike Ibeabuchi. Like, you had to really scrap. There was like real Shannon Briggs. Let's go, champ. Champ. Yeah. I eat whatever you eat. Champ. Right? You really had to go through something. And this is bringing the essence back to boxing. And I love it. So I won't stop talking about it. And again, I'm going to always keep talking. Every time I make videos about this for my new audience members, new people tuning in, I'm going to keep bringing up what Canelo is lacking at this point of his career. He's not fighting fights like this. He's not fighting he should be fighting Benavidez, not Morrell. But you're letting a guy who barely has over 10 fights, you're letting him fight Benavidez before you do. So it's almost like out with the old, in with the new. And I think people are slowly but surely discovering that. Yes, Canelo is still popular, but he's not doing this. And kudos to Benavidez and Morrell for giving us a treat.